what are your observations on gender equality within the industry? If you're a medical doctor, so practicing doctor, what roles would you apply for? One of the issues they have in medical oncology, unfortunately, is there's just not enough consultant positions.
I think that now we've got seeing a lot of science parks, especially health innovation precincts, arise in Australia, where it's all about this co-location and working collaboratively together. We'll hopefully see more conjoint roles between industry, other than the sponsored chair, that really helped drive this collaboration.
Welcome back to Finding Pharma. Today, in this final part series with CEO Tim Boyle, we're going to answer your questions. We're going to talk about gender equality in pharma and medtech, and it's very evident to see Tim's passion for investing in future talent, which can only mean good things if you're looking to join the industry. We also look at what roles a medical doctor could potentially do in pharma and medtech. And watch to the very end as Tim answers my favorite question. Let's get into it.
Now, I've got a few viewer submitted questions for you. The first one is quite an interesting one because my personal experience has been a little bit different to this, but happy to share the full question and its context. So the viewer has submitted, the pharmaceutical industry has been perceived as being male dominated. From your experience, what are your observations on gender equality within the industry? And I think you're the brilliant person to answer this because I know you were the keynote speaker at the Healthcare Business Women's Association launch last month. Personally, I guess from my side, I've been to the Women's in Life Science luncheons and things like that. I've had a lot of female managers who have been amazing. We hear about some of the perks as well, like Merck Serono, they have a fertility benefit program where they'll reimburse fertility testing, IVF, hormonal treatments for their staff. So actually guys, just from my personal perspective, I think pharma is more catered to females, actually, more generous. But yeah, Tim, don't let me take away from you. I would love to hear your opinion.
Yeah, so I guess my personal experience moving through my career, except for the period where I was at ANSTO, I've worked in environments where I was in the minority in terms of agenda. Going through university, when I started, there were 24 in the cohort, of which 5 were men. When we finished, only 4 of us finished in time, and I was the only male. My experience is very mirrored about that, where it's been about 75-25 through, except at ANSTO, where it's about 95% men and 5% women. Mainly, I think, driven by the environment, the engineering and physics environment, and also the realization that if you try to gender balance in that environment, you're sucking the talent away from other organizations because of the talent pool, which exacerbates the problem elsewhere. I think there's a fundamental issue around recruitment in engineering schools. It's not, maybe the environment I worked in was 95-5, but across the organisation it's a 60-40 or something, but it's still not right. It's still swayed way too far towards men. The OnQ salary survey takes demographic benchmarks, and Catherine from OnQ did share some of the raw data with me. And I think it's 57%. It's either 54 or 57%. I'll have to fact check that. But it's a couple of percent here or there is not going to make a huge difference. Say it's 57%. That's the women in the sector.
Yeah.
So there is a majority of women working in the medtech and pharma sector from the respondents to that survey, and those respondents were HR people in the industry. So I think we can categorically bust the myth with data that it's a male-dominated industry. I think when you get to leadership levels, women aren't represented as equally there. And I think that's where we need to level up. And we know leadership positions are filled by a combination of talent, experience, and being the right person in the right place at the right time. Yeah, there's a bit of that factor. And then sometimes there's hiring policies that come across the top as well. And I know we have the talent in the female workforce. We might not necessarily have the right leadership experience. So within my team at ARCS, I completely break the stereotypes. We've got, aside from myself, all my senior leadership team are women. My PA is a man. That's not by design. That's just the way it happened. But I'm giving my senior leadership team every opportunity to get the experience that they need in senior leadership roles so that they can take that step up when an opportunity comes. And we need to level up across the sector so we can break this cycle of seeing male leaders. I think we need to rebalance it so it's somewhere between the 50 and the 57% women in leadership roles.
Yeah.
I won't get into the argument whether it should be 50-50 or 57-43. I don't know what the answer to that is, but we can certainly do better than we're doing at the moment.
Yeah. No, I thank you for trailblazing and pioneering that, and hopefully we do see that change come through, because I think, it should more be on merit, and a lot of these women have great talent, which should be recognised in these senior positions.
I don't know about the merit argument. I think it's just about making sure that we look beyond the obvious when we make hiring decisions as well. Just because someone's got a longer career tenure, that doesn't necessarily make them more talented. And that experience, the difference between 10 years in a role and 5 years in a role isn't that huge amount of experience when it comes to a technical domain. Yeah. So I think sometimes those kinds of tenure in roles can be a swaying decision-making factor, and that really discriminates against women who have had taken parental leave or taken career breaks for other reasons, caring and otherwise, and that shouldn't work against them.
Very good point. Yeah, very good point. Another viewer submitted question: if you're a medical doctor, so practicing doctor, what roles would you apply for in, say, the pharmaceutical industry? And what I guess is a good starting point for, say, a medical doctor looking to, I'd like the work-life balance in pharma, or give something different a go.
I don't know if the work-life balance will be any better in pharma. Although I have a few friends that have done their registries and things, and their registration period, and say that it's like Hell Week, like the Navy SEALs Hell Week for 3 years. But I think definitely medical affairs and medical director type roles would be the obvious one. But the longer I've been engaged at ARCS, the more I see the clinical research side, especially the investigator-led clinical research. And I think opening up a research element to your career in medicine could make you more passionate about why you do what you do, because you start to move into the forefront of the development of new products. It's not necessarily new clinical trials for new drugs or devices or things. It may be a clinical trial that changes the protocol, the way that a patient is treated in hospital. It may be you instead of feeding, resuming solid food 12 hours, might be doing it within 2 hours after post-operation. Those kind of trials really make a difference to patients, so I think there's certainly a way you can move into the sector through clinical academia, and I think that could be a really rewarding career as well.
Yep. You actually mentioned, you jogged my memory, I went to the TOGA preceptorship, so Thoracic Oncology Group of Australia, and the preceptorship was aimed at advanced trainees who are about to be medical oncologists. And one of the issues they have in medical oncology, unfortunately, is there's just not enough consultant positions. And one of the preceptors threw out the idea, like maybe it's a hybrid where you do a little bit of industry work and locuming clinical work. Do you think, that is a potential future where pharma does partner with, hospitals or things like that, where a clinician can still do clinics 2 days a week and then pharma 3 days a week in clinical trials?
Yeah, this is a very Australian problem where we like to segregate people as academics or working in industry, and there's very little career mobility that goes between. It's very difficult to go from industry into academia. Going from academia into industry is more it's more common, but it's a one-way bridge. It's very hard to work your way back. So, but it's a very Australian problem, and I think that now we've got seeing a lot of science parks, especially health innovation precincts, arise in Australia, where it's all about this co-location and working collaboratively together. We'll hopefully see more conjoint roles between industry, other than the sponsored chair, that really help drive this collaboration. And there's just walls there. There are artificial walls that we've built around career perceptions and we just need to knock them down. And I think part of it is driven in academia by those that sit on the promotion panels know what a professor or an associate professor looks like. So when they're promoting someone and looking at the candidate's promotion, they're looking for the same publication record, tenure and otherwise. And it's very difficult to meet those milestones when you've not been in academia for a while. In industry, it's a bit more flexible, I think. So I think we just need to break down these walls, and we need to reimagine what academia looks like. I think we are seeing some conjoint roles now. We're seeing professors of practice being employed straight into universities. I just need to see more of it. That's not a problem that we can solve. Universities have existed for 500 years, 200 years maybe in Australia, and there's culture there that's endemic that you can't break down overnight. Even policy shifts within the university sector won't shift the behaviours or the people that are there already.
Yeah. Hopefully, it sounds like it's going to take a bit of time to shift, but maybe we are heading in that direction slowly.
I think there's some green shoots there. We're starting to move in that direction, but I think we will get there, but it's going to take a while. I think there's some great pragmatic leaders in the higher education sector, and they're starting. The wheels are starting to move, and the health precincts that are forming around most of the bigger universities will drive a lot of this change. So I guess it's a good time in this space, but there's more to do still.
Yep. Okay, we're on the right trajectory, which is nice to know and hear. Yeah, guys. So if you're enjoying the content so far, please like the video. Comment below if you have any questions that we haven't answered, and maybe we can get them answered on another episode, or we'll get a reply back to you in the comments section. My last question, Tim, for a bit of fun, and thank you so much for giving your time. Again, I know being a busy CEO, I'm super grateful and honoured to have you on the channel. For a bit of fun, if you were a pharmaceutical drug, what would your warning label say?
Well, I keep on hearing that I manage to change the environment around me wherever I go, and I don't leave. When I leave an organisation, it's very different from when I started. So somehow I managed to get into the DNA and change the fabric and the DNA of the organisations that I work in. So if I was going to be a pharmaceutical label, it would have to be mutagenic, I think, or mutagen. I managed to get in and change the DNA and then change the fabric and shape of those organisations. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. And I think, credit to you in terms of who you are as a leader. I know we talked a lot about leadership before coming onto camera, and you're obviously a force for positive change and changing the DNA and changing, the industry that we work in. Thank you so much. And your insights, I think, are going to change the mindsets of many who watch this channel. So hopefully we can get to that 1,000 subscribers, but even then at 300, thank you for making time.
Yeah, and I think people change is how things change. Innovation, product development, products, industry, they all start with people. Innovation happens with people, and those people are the workforce. And collectively, we can make the change. We just have to be positive about how we do it. So every person that makes a decision to make a positive change and influence those around them to be the same is making a step in the right direction towards innovating and making a better world for all of us.
Yeah. Thank you. Very inspiring words. And hopefully this channel can be a little bit mutagenic as well for spreading positive change. So again, thank you so much, Tim. Really grateful.
Thanks, David.
Now, what an incredible interview series. As you can see, Tim is very passionate about what he does. And not only that, he walks the talk. In part 2 of this 3-part interview series, he's actually agreed to give away 3 ARCS memberships. If you've missed that episode, click here, and I highly encourage you to watch and apply.